Live from the Export Beer Garden studio and brought to you as always by Export Ultra, the beer for here. This is the Agenda podcast for Tuesday, the 10th of September.
The Agenda Podcast, the home of sporting nonsense and claptrap. Brought to you by Export Ultra.
We've moved the entire Export Ultra Beer Garden into the Hauraki studios. We've had to kick out Matt and Jerry, and we're sitting in their seats because something pretty exciting is going on at our studio.
Yeah, we're getting a renovation of the ACC studio. And you described it yesterday, actually, because we emptied the studio out. And anyone who's seen pictures of the ACC studio, it is like a teenage boys' bedroom / club rooms.
Have you ever had that mate whose house had like a basement or a garage that you could hang out and the parents are just like, just go out there and don't come back in again? That's what it was like.
Yeah, and we emptied the whole thing and for the first time in probably 4 years opened the curtains.
Yeah.
And it was very similar to seeing a strip club under full light.
Yes.
There were stains we hadn't seen before.
Oh my God.
There was dust everywhere. It was not good.
We had put it was quite nostalgic going through all of the stains that we unearthed by way of like seeing all the memories. There was this weird stain that looked like bleach had hit the floor in one corner of the studio, and apparently that was from a time where Matt Heath fell asleep in the corner of the studio.
Yeah, and as he fell asleep, he spilt something. I don't know what it was.
Something that had a bleaching effect on the carpet.
Something acidic.
Yeah, so it can't have just been beer or champagne because that's all over the place. Yeah. So I don't know what that was. There was 2 fragile stickers that had been placed down as markers on the floor and had baked into the carpet to where the carpet then said fragile once we pulled the stickers off. There are mystery stains all across the walls and the ceiling of the studio.
I know, they're not mystery. That's World Test Championship champagne, my friend. That is, we sprayed it all over the studio when we won that World Test Championship. 6 days of staying up all night.
Yeah.
And it culminated in that. And I remember Heath and I covered Jason Hoyt in champagne.
Yeah.
And it went all up the walls on the roof. It was dripping from the ceiling.
And I'm sure I'm not giving too much away here when I say that background behind us is actually a green screen. That's just to pull you inside the magic of television. And the green screen doesn't work that well because it is covered in champagne, which
it's more a brown screen.
Which, if you've never seen before, leaves a filthy brown stain. It's not like golden or anything. Then the one that was concerning me is, and I'd never seen it until yesterday. It's on the outside of the studio, up the front wall. There's an ACC logo. Then up the top, there's like another brown liquid. Did the celebration spill out into the?
I don't know. That could have been.
doorway?
That could have been during our hostile days when we were at war with Flavour radio station.
That's right, which is right next to the ACC studio.
And they were throwing stuff at us, and we locked ourselves in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so when we were under duress.
Yeah.
That started when you threw a dildo from across the room and it stuck to the flavour sign.
And went and just wobbled for about 10 minutes.
At such a height that no one could fetch it down from there. That was quite powerful. So yeah, we've got, for all the bitching and moaning we do about our own studio, we've finally done something about it.
Yeah.
And when's that going to be ready? Next week, is it?
Next week, yes. So look out. Obviously it will mean absolutely nothing to people listening to podcasts, but it'll make us feel better about ourselves.
Well, no, to the 100 people that watch it on YouTube.
That's true.
That's going to change everything.
We could see the numbers maybe double.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be up sort of around the 200s, which is sort of Mr. Beast areas.
Yeah. Should we release a chocolate?
I think we're going to have to.
Yeah, burger.
An energy drink.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
All that kind of stuff. We're just going to really target children with our marketing strategies. As we're walking in here, obviously Matt and Jerry's still recording their podcast and they had David Nyeka in here, so I had to come in and spark him out and then drag his corpse out of the studio. And then as you walked in, you noted that we had relapsed back into the cassowary chat again.
Yes, I walked down, I was doing about Adam, and he goes, you guys still talking about fighting kangaroos and cassowaries? And you're like, yeah.
Yes, we're straight back into it because he posted this morning. So if you haven't listened, go back and listen to the podcast that we did with him. We talked about what's the biggest animal you could fight in a one-on-one cage fight. And he then posted a video to social media the next day discussing the exact same thing. We're like, what the fuck is this? Turns out he'd filmed that like months ago and it only released it. He was like, it was so bizarre that you guys brought up what's the biggest animal you could beat in a cage fight, because he had talked about it months ago but hadn't released the video yet. And I said, it's not bizarre and it's not a fluke because we fucking talk about it all the time. That's all I think about. It consumes me. And so somebody sent him after that, a picture of a cassowary's claw and said, does that guy still think he could beat a cassowary? So he posted it on his Instagram story. You can go and have a look at it now, depending on when you listen to this. And it's big. It's a big bastard.
You got to isolate that claw. How many got 2 claws, eh?
They only got 2, yeah.
See, yeah.
You'd be hard-pressed if they had more than that. But I honestly think, yes, the claw's going to fuck me up.
Not going to knock you out, though, is it?
It's not going to knock me out.
It'll open you up.
Oh, yeah, it'll hurt. And I will need serious medical attention after this. But I'm saying fight to the death. I reckon I'm going to outsmart it. Don't they famously have brains smaller than their eyes?
Yeah. They're birds.
They're very, very dumb. Yeah. And they're also very north-south. This is what we were just discussing out in the office there.
No lateral movement.
No lateral movement. And if you can get around, so apparently the book on a kangaroo is if you can get behind a tree, because they have to lean back on their tail for all of the leverage.
Oh, and they have to hop around.
And they have to, either they have to hop around, which is, and you're gliding around them at that point, lighten them up. So if you can use the tree, either that or get them on their heels, because they then will lean on their tail, and at that point they can't go anywhere.
Isn't that when they lean on their tail is when they bring their legs up and do that, though?
Yes, but they don't have much pivot ability. They can't turn. So
once get them on its tail and then go round the side, then light it up.
Piece that row up, yeah. That's what I think. They are scary bastards, though, kangaroos. When I lived over in Australia, the school around the corner from me got shut down because a mob of kangaroos had moved in over the weekend. And they were like, it's too dangerous to have
kids running around.
We got 7-foot Great Western red kangaroos in here. And they just can't get rid of them. So
how Australian's that? School shut, there's roos
everywhere.
Roos everywhere.
Fucking everywhere, yeah. I honestly, I don't think there's a bird on earth that could beat me in a fight.
Oh,
right,
that's a big call.
Get a bird to sign the contract. I don't think there's I know.
Okay, are you throwing out the challenge? Are you any bird?
Any bird that's listening to this, sign the contract. Let's get in the ring. Let's figure it out. I don't know. I mean, ostriches are scary. They're bigger than cassowaries.
But they haven't got many weapons, though, have they?
The claws. Again, it's the claws. And the beak, I've been pecked by an ostrich before. It's scary, but it's not going to knock.
Yeah,
it's not going to knock you out or hurt you. If you can just brace for the fact that an ostrich is about to peck you.
What about an eagle that you're in the ring and the eagle's just diving down, scratching your head?
That's going to be hard because you're really on its terms at that point, aren't you?
Because it's not going to. The eagle's not dancing with you in the ring.
No,
it's circling the ring and dive bombing you.
Yeah.
But I suppose you're always paying attention, so you could.
And all I need to do is get hold of it.
Yeah.
And then again, it's all on. Because the other thing about an eagle is its main weapon is its face.
Mm.
So all I need to do is offer up a hand, and I will lose that hand.
Yeah.
But once it's bit my hand, I'll get it by the neck,
and
game over.
Wring its neck.
I'll wring a fucking eagle's neck.
Yeah, it's true.
And you can write that down.
There must be some fucked up bird in the Amazon somewhere or Madagascar that's would mess you up.
Well, I think if it's anything, it's the cassowary, and I think that's David Newkett was right to bring up the cassowary because it's got the big plated thing on the top of its head, and that's how it runs through the bush. And as you said, it can get up to 80 kilos. I don't know if I buy that. 80 kilos is very heavy. That's
what are you saying? You're saying that an 80 kilo, you couldn't take an 80 kilo cassowary?
No, no. I'll stand by my initial clause. I fuck any bird up. I'm just saying I don't know if they do quite get up to 80 kilos. Now I would want a full training camp. I don't want someone to walk into the studio on Monday with with an ostrich and be like, go on then. I'd like at least a few months, and I'll grant the bird the same.
So, are you going to have to? Okay, say it's an ostrich. You're going to spar with an ostrich for 6 weeks in camp?
Yeah, I think I'd have to. I've watched my missus slap the shit out of an ostrich before, and for all intents and purposes, that's allegedly and reportedly. I've
that's
never
not a euphemism, is it?
No. And people have ostriches on farms around the country.
Yeah,
and I reckon actually reach out ostrich farmers. Let us know. Have you ever
thrown hands?
Has one ever gotten a little out of hand and you've had to just, course correct an ostrich a little bit? I don't know.
Jeez.
I think.
Okay.
I'd like to know. From an ostrich farmer out there. Get in touch. One more thing I want to address before we get into some actual sport is changing room etiquette, and I know we've talked about this before. Loitering in the changing room. Where do you stand on this? 'Cause I feel like if you're in the changing room, you need to actively be changing.
Oh, you're talking about gymnasiums, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, you're at a notorious gymnasium for loitering with intent.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Look, it will remain nameless, first name Les, but it is a gym that is renowned for the sauna activity, the spa activity, and loitering.
Yeah.
So I'm not for loitering.
No, it brings a real atmosphere into the room, doesn't it? When someone's just sitting in there, rubbing their pectoral muscle
That's a sign.
with a pair of headphones in and not getting actively changed. No.
Oh, okay.
In like tights and shorts. So I just finished a workout and was just sitting there.
In London at Fitness First Covent Garden, which I later found out was a gym renowned for loitering with intent.
Right.
I was sitting down getting changed, and they had hair dryers in there. And I've never seen anyone use a hairdryer because no, dudes don't really use hairdryers.
Also, that's another 5 minutes you have to be in that room.
Yeah, until this guy came up full nude, threw one leg up on the bench, full package out, and just started hairdrying his sacks. And I was like, dude, like about a meter from my face. He's like, wah.
Because the shower after the gym, you don't actually, it's not a great shower. That's not the cleanest you'll ever be. You know what I mean? Like, you're still sweating a little bit. So now he's just blasting his musk across the room at you.
I know, you got in and out. In and out unless you're there for something else.
Yeah, that's right. This is what was creeping me out. I was just like, I managed to get in, have my shower, get changed, and leave, and he still hadn't got in the shower yet.
That's because you didn't give him the right signs. If you'd given him he would have gone, okay, sweet.
Okay, we're on here.
Until he's got what he wanted, I think he's going to remain in that changing room.
Yeah, right.
Which, knowing your gym, wouldn't be long.
He just didn't. Just because his hook didn't catch a fish didn't mean there weren't fish in there.
Oh yeah.
Just before we go to a break, and after the break, by the way, we're going to get on one of the Tasman's biggest fans to find out just what it means to the Northern South Island region. But before we do, wasn't there supposed to be cricket last night?
Yes. Oh my God.
What happened?
It was the full McLean Park. John McLean Park happened in India. Drainage, shithouse. It rained 2 days before this. It was sunny all day, but the outfield was so wet and boggy that they couldn't even play. And the forecast is not great. Right. So showers today. Tomorrow looks all right. Next day, rain. So look, I think this is one for the gods. This is fate that's going to bin this test match for good, because it actually shouldn't, let's be honest. Shouldn't be being played.
Well, we've taken a stance against the oppressive Taliban regime, and we're not commentating it.
Yep.
Ipso facto, why bother even playing it? I did see a photo, so all of the stories were like it's a new venue, like it's one of the newer venues that they've ever tried to play a test on, and they said the ground staff had been working overtime to try and clear all the water out. But the picture they used was 10 guys standing around, 8 of them in shoes, and 2 dudes with brooms made out of like sticks. Yeah. I was like, I think I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here and say that they actually had proper equipment. But man, did they stitch them up with that photo. A couple of guys with witches' brooms out there trying to get rid of, biblical flooding.
I don't see a result in this game at all.
No.
So I think they might get some play in today, but the forecast looks terrible. And given the fact that the outfield is already sopping wet.
Yeah. All you're going to do is just roll your ankle, do a hammy.
Yeah.
One of the Afghani dudes did warming up.
Yeah.
Injured himself. And then also, just quickly, England got hammered.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Against Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka won by 8 wickets. England's second innings was a shocker.
156.
156 all out. And then Sri Lanka chased the target when they lost 2 wickets.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is Baz ball over? That's the headline.
Cancel it. Yeah, he's just signed up. Cancel it now.
Yeah. He was just foxing us. Once people figured it out, it was all going to be over, and now it's happened. So bin him and bring him home to New Zealand.
Yeah, how do I?
All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to ring up Tony Lyall. All right, for the first time in their history, the Tasman Mako have lifted the shield over the weekend, defeating the Hawke's Bay Hawks.
Magpies.
Hawke's Bay
Magpies. The Hawke's Bay Swoopies.
And the region is a flutter, so we thought we'd better talk to our Northern South Island correspondent, Tony Lyall, ACC commentator. Good morning, Tony. How does it feel, mate?
It feels bloody good, Manaia. You need to sound a bit more excited, buddy. You sound like you've just woken up. You need to get G'd up. Shield fever has taken over Nelson Marlborough. It's come to the top of the South for the first time since 1973 when the Marlborough Red Devils beat Canterbury. And boy, do the people of the provinces love the Shield.
Oh, don't they? This is one of my things about the Shield is every time a new region wins it, they take it on a tour of the schools.
Yeah.
But everybody's heard a story about the Shield that's like, you shouldn't let your kid anywhere near that Shield if half of those stories are true. Have you heard anything about how the players celebrated after they won it?
Well, I haven't heard anything about how they celebrated specifically, and I think that's for the best, to be honest. I'd rather that just sort of is in the privacy of the changing shed. But I have seen a picture of my sister down there in Blenheim. She works at the local constabulary, and Quinton McDonald, of course, Tasman Mako, stalwart. He took it along to the Marlborough police station and did a wee bit of a show around with all the police there, and I couldn't help but think, geez, maybe keep the controlled substance detectors away from the Shield the day after you've won it. You probably want to give it some clear air from a police station. I imagine the dog was going absolutely apeshit.
That's like a preemptive strike from that stalwart. 'Cause he's like, right, let's take it to the cops, do a tour, and then when we defend it against Wellington and we get in a bit of trouble in town, they'll go, it's okay. They got the Shield. They got the Shield.
They'll let it slide. I think maybe they might have learned from Hawke's Bay's mistakes, and potentially you maybe run a bit of glad wrap or something over it if you are going to partake in any sort of questionable activities, just to, allow the amount of questionable deniability if anything ever does come back to you. No, technically we didn't do anything off the Shield. We did it off a bit of glad wrap that was on the Shield, but the Shield didn't touch anything.
It remains intact, the mana of the Shield.
Hey, so Tony, though, I looked at the draw. You straight away, it's down to business because you got Wellington coming to Tasman this Saturday for a challenge. That's going to be a good game. Yeah,
fucking mate. I say bring them on. I reckon the mighty Mako are going to gobble them up. It's the thing with the Shield. The Hawke's Bay, they haven't actually been. They've been a good enough side, but it's not like they've gone on to win the championship over this pretty decent Shield era they've had. They've won and lost it, but they've been thereabouts for the last few seasons. And there's just something about that Shield at those home games that really bars up a team. So I'm hoping that sort of gets in. Maybe they've had a chance to shake out the hangover, because I always do wonder how that would affect a team after they win a Shield. They probably go on to drink about 68 beers each, and then 1 week later you got to defend it again. So hopefully they've kicked that. But no, I say bring it on. I reckon Lansdowne Park is absolutely going to be rocking on Saturday. And you got to remember, this is Blenheim. There's not a shitload to do down there. I think every single person and their dog will be heading down to Lansdowne Park to watch the big game. And it's the City Slickers as well. The City Slickers from Wellington. These, people who work in Parliament all the day, these public servants who have recently been cut from their jobs, who now play rugby. We don't care about these City Slickers. I say bring them over the strait and then send them backpacking.
Yeah. That's right. Put them on the ferry as well. Get really, really rub it in.
Oh, put them on the ferry.
Yeah, no flights. So, sorry, mate, the airport's closed. You have to take the ferry back. You have to listen to some old man sing the Waratahs song on the ferry for 3.5 hours to get back to Wellington.
Yeah, and then the electronics shut down. You got to go back to Wellington, fly back over anyway.
Yeah, it's true. The ferry is notoriously unreliable, which... Yeah. No matter what you get, I don't want to slander just the entire island area. I think the Blue Bridge is also pretty unreliable, so we can share our slander across both corporate entities.
Yeah, look, and there's also the $500 million that they spent on upgrading it and then didn't upgrade it. That's not what we're here to talk about. Can you do me a favour, Tony, and I know you have no bearing on the outcome of any of these games, but can Tasman please just hold on to the Shield? Because I don't know if you're familiar with South Canterbury's unbeaten run that stretches back almost 4 years now. They get to challenge for the Ranfurly Shield at the start of every season, but this year, because of funding issues, they weren't able to get up to Hawke's Bay. Surely, though, you can get from Timaru to Blenheim, So if you guys could just hold on to it for 1 year and then give us a chance to take it off yous, please.
That seems much more easy. Why do you get a Shield Challenge every year? Is it the only club in all of New Zealand that gets one every year?
Well, it has been for the last 4 years, Tony, because it's whoever wins the Heartland Championship. And so that's why South Canterbury gets a chance to win it every year. I think it'd be great for rugby if the Ranfurly Shield ended up back in the Heartland Championship.
Oh, shit, yeah.
It'd be the biggest coup.
Well, it would only last there for one game until they were subsequently absolutely ripped apart by the next team they played from the actual NPC. But I know what you mean. It would be good to get it down there. But it basically is. Most of Tasman have won, but when it gets to one of the two towns, like Nelson, which of course is Nelson Bay beforehand, or Tasman, the mighty Marlborough Red Devils, those are the people who basically are in the Heartland team from their perspective. They they haven't seen that glory. They've seen a couple of trophies, but they don't get to rub the shield. So I'd say beating with the Makos is the next best thing.
Yeah, 100%. That Marco's team is stacked as well. There's so many good players in there. Do you think that this is a sign of things to come? Do you reckon they could take the whole thing out?
Well, I certainly hope so. And I couldn't help but think when I saw Finlay Christie slapping the shield in a sort of sexually suggestive manner, when he was doing that, I wondered if he thought to himself, getting dropped from the All Blacks isn't that bad. I could have gone over to South Africa, got spanked 2-0 by the Springboks, or I could stay in the South Island and win the Ranfurly Shield for the first time for my province and look pretty good doing it. So I reckon he's probably first. But yes, to answer your question, I realise I've gone off on a Finlay Christie tear here, but I reckon why not? I think it always helps the team when they've got the shield. Let's say they go on a streak and win all their home games. They're sitting pretty for the finals just on the back of defending the shield. So hopefully they can do it. I reckon why not? Like you said, they've got a pretty stacked team. Quentin Strange, of course, El Capitan, he's a big freak, leading the team around, and mostly Manaia getting that turnover in the last second of that other game. He's just an outrageous physical specimen. So a few players like that, and certainly they can do it.
A couple of Havillies among the ranks as well. Yeah, brilliant. Well, enjoy. I'm sure your celebrations are raging on throughout the week, Tony. Enjoy that, and hopefully you have a long reign with the shield, mate. Yeah,
well, I actually have very limited involvement with it, so hopefully the team does. I mean, I've done nothing really apart from post a few supportive Instagram posts and hoping maybe getting a free jersey from the Tasman Mako outfit, but other than that, it's all the team, so go the boys and hopefully they can hang on to it.
I had heard you hadn't stopped drinking since the weekend.
Yeah, that's sort of just by to be honest.
Right, yeah, sorry.
I didn't even know the game was on, and I was halfway through my tear.
Thought that meant you were down there. Brilliant. Thanks very much for joining us, Tony. Go well.
No worries. Love the pod, boys.
No, you don't. He's gone. All right. Well, it's great to have Tony join us there. And, well, I was going to say massive celebrations, but like he said, he's just been drinking since the weekend because that's just what he does.
Yeah.
It is now time to sound the NRL off-field scandal, which, Lane, I think you're going to do manually. Have you come up with a... Josh Adokar has allegedly returned a positive roadside cocaine test only days out from Canterbury's fairy tale run to the NRL finals. Phil Gould took to social media in the immediate aftermath of this to say the test results were negative and Josh was allowed to continue on his way. Happens to all of us at some stage on the roads. It's the police keeping the community safe. We appreciate their work. There's absolutely no truth to the rumours that Josh had any issue. None whatsoever. Enjoy your finals football, everyone.
I love this. And this morning, massive U-turn.
Yes.
From
Phil Gould.
Phil Gould. He's come out and said, look, he tested positive. There's a bit of a miscommunication around the police letting him get on his way, which he obviously told everyone the police allowed him to go on his way and just maybe didn't mention the fact that he tested positive.
Yeah.
So Phil Gould's come out and said he's tested positive. He's made a mistake. He hasn't tried to mislead anyone. It's like, whatever, whitewash have come in.
Oh, you think?
But they've messed up the comms.
Right.
They've gone too early. Phil Gould's gone too early.
So he has been out. He was out last week for like a minor ankle issue, but they were saying that he was going to be back for the first week of the playoffs. I also saw that there was a massive statewide sting to try and find people who were drug driving. There was 10,000 people that were pulled over and 400 of them tested positive. Unluckius. Unfortunately, it looks like allegedly he's been caught on his way in. Jeez, he gets 1 week off and he's out there,
tearing it up
on the latrelles. Yeah.
Look, but like the NRL, they'll move on from this.
Oh yeah.
Whatever happens, they'll go, oh yeah, he's suspended for a week or whatever, or he'll fight the charge and say that it was in his drink bottle or something.
Yeah.
But people won't care. That's what I love about the NRL. It's like, whatever, young dudes doing young dude stuff.
That's right.
But if it was rugby, if it was Super Rugby, if this was like an All Black that got pulled over and done for it, holy shit, there'd be press conference, there'd be people will be trying to cover up, there'd be PR, crazy comms going on.
Yeah. I just think you wouldn't hear about it. Whitewash investigations would get all over this thing straight away. And then all you would hear is that maybe Josh Adokar was eating McDonald's in the wrong flat or something like that. You'd never find out what had actually happened. It would just get buried. But you're so right. The NRL's just this is what happened.
And also, I think the real crime is Josh Adokar's ponytail. That's the real crime here, not the fact that he's been on the nose beers. But because he's got that big party out the back. But when he lets the party go during games, but then off field he ties it up and it looks Nothing more sex offendery than that. So yeah, I think that is probably the crime that needs to be dealt with before the nose beers.
Yeah, that's a powerful look. It reminded me of in the NFL yesterday, Tyreek Hill, who's a wide receiver. He got arrested outside of his field where he's about to play.
Yes,
Did you
I've
see
seen
that? I think it was like a speeding violation in his Ferrari on the way to the game.
But they go so over the top, the cops in America, because his black Ferrari is parked and he's face down on the road.
I know.
With all the cops all over the top of him. It's like, is that necessary?
Yeah. It's like, have a look at the NRL. This dude was doing drugs.
Yeah.
They let him go.
Let him go on his way. That's quite funny as well, eh? You test positive for cocaine and then just go home, go straight home though.
There'll be a letter.
Yeah, it's like that's quite funny because when you're drunk driving, they don't go good luck getting home, mate, and toss you the keys.
No. Oh, I don't know. Look, again, we don't know whether there was anything in there or not. The story is that there was.
Oh, they're testing a second sample.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think it was like he was like high on his way in, like when he got pulled over. I don't know.
You think it's the morning after?
I reckon, yeah, or like even the weekend. I don't know how long that stuff stays in your system. Reach out, druggos. But I think
should we do our own research on that?
Well, we always encourage people to do their own research.
Yeah,
so
well, we better do our own.
Might be about time to do our own. But yeah, so Tyreek Hill got pulled over, a speeding violation. Yeah, got handcuffed, choked out. Someone knelt on the back of his head because that's what they do in America. And then he went on to score an 80-yard touchdown. And then he celebrated by putting his hands behind his back, and another player handcuffed him.
That's good.
That was brilliant. That was great stuff, and it won me my fantasy league for this week. All right, it is a Tuesday, and we have moved Half-Baked Sports Ideas to a Tuesday. So without any further ado, here is a Half-Baked Sports Idea.
Half-Baked Sports Idea.
And I'd like to give a big shout out to Logan O'Connell, who messaged me this the other day, a dear friend of mine. He said, I've got an idea for you. It's based around the Paralympics, and it is able-bodied jockey, blind horse. Okay. Let's find out. Let's find out who's doing what.
So are we talking para animals now and putting para animals into games?
Look, if we've got animals in the Olympics, we need animals in the Paralympics. And I know they do have horse riding in the Paralympics, but the horses are generally fine, able-bodied.
Yes, that's true actually. So we've got to give the horses a go, don't we?
That's right. And if they say, because we talked about during the Olympics, does the horse get a medal? It doesn't. Only the jockey does. And we've always, for the longest time, we've said how much of it's the horse, how much of it's the jockey. Well, I think the best and clearest way to find out is blind horse, because then it's all entirely on the jockey. The jockey's got to let it know when to jump, when to turn.
Do we have different categories though? Because could you have a three-legged horse as well? It would be a different kind of different class.
You could, yeah. That'd be tougher.
The blind horse. I think they would go all right.
Yeah, I think they would too.
Because you got the jockey, you got the rider
who can see
and will steer, and the rider is not going to steer them into a wall.
No, it's the jumping that's going to be tough to time.
That's a little dangerous.
Yeah.
And I think potentially they may lower some of the cross country in particular. Looks a bit spicy.
Cross country would be too hard.
Yeah, you going through the water and all that stuff.
Did you see the blind marathon runner yesterday who got disqualified? So she was in bronze position, and she, when they run with a guide,
yes,
and he could see, but unfortunately he could not run, and he cramped up towards the finish line. So with about 20 meters to go, he'd been cramping for the last 100 meters, and with about 20 meters to go, he was just like, "Look, I'm shot." She let go of the rope for a little bit and just sort of took off on her own. Eventually, they did cross the finish line together, but because she let go of the rope, they took her medal off her.
Oh,
and she finished bronze.
It seems a bit stink.
I know. What? It's not an advantage to leave your guide behind.
Yeah, you could have run straight into a tree.
Yeah, why should you be penalised? Look, if someone wants to show up on the starting line,
she could have gone straight into the River Seine.
Yeah, that's right. And if someone wants to show up on the starting line and run without a guide, shouldn't they be allowed to? I don't understand why letting go of the rope was a problem.
Yeah, so maybe is it a partial? Can you have partially sighted and blind?
Perhaps.
That's why a lot of those people had the blindfolds on. Because some of them are partially, and it was like, right, to make it an even playing field, we're all going to wear.
It's like the sit-down volleyball.
Yeah.
So some of them can walk a little bit, but look, just everyone sit down.
Yeah.
I think that if she was able to see, or at least someone else in her team probably could have looked at the guy that she was running with and been like, Don't think he's going to make it. Joe Jury was just like, why did they have the drummer from Slipknot?
What? But they must get to choose their own guide. You don't turn up.
No, I know.
And they get allocated me or you, and they go, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, but she's never seen the guy. That's my problem.
Oh, true. So if he actually, maybe, surely she's kind of run hands over him and going, you're a bit sloppy. You're not going to run a marathon in an hour and a half, are you, buddy? In 2 hours.
It was he had the big giant chin strap goatee sort of situation going on. Anyway, so that's the half-baked sports idea. Able-bodied jockeys, blind horse. That's my idea. I reckon it's a go. Although right up until you crash your horse and then it gets put down and they're like, let's bin this.
Yeah, and look, not a lot of blind horses around, is there? Maybe a few, but they don't make it to adulthood probably.
No, because there's no use for them. But I'm proposing a use for them that could save lives in the long haul. Right. You know what I mean?
Well, you could just put a blindfold on a really good horse.
That is a very good point. That's a very good point. Blinders on the horses. All right, let's take one more quick break. We'll come back with yours, please.
Yours, please. Brought to you by Leader, home of the lasagna topper.
3 of them to get through today, Lane. The first one goes like this. Yours, please.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first meeting of the All Black supporters group. Black Caps have kindly lent us their facilities, so we'll have that till the summer. But I'd like to start with everyone just looking to their neighbour, holding hands and looking at each other in the eyes and saying, it's going to be okay. We'll survive. Yeah. We'll survive.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to be okay. I agree. The Black Caps supporters support group kindly offered all of the halls that they pencil booked for the entire off-season.
Yeah, they'll need them back in a couple of months.
Oh, they've got 6 tests in the subcontinent. They'll need them back in a couple of months at least. So they've lent them to the All Black supporters support group. And I like that guy. Hold hands, look at each other. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. South Africa are world champions.
That's right.
They have the best team in the world. We competed. We're not quite good enough, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I will not be able to survive losing to the Wallabies, however.
Correct.
That's going to be a problem.
If we lose to them, then the supporters group in full swing.
Yes, we will really need each other. So we may even need to push back the Black Caps meetings there just to extend it. It's going to take some time.
Or combine them.
Oh, yeah. It's often a good opportunity to learn from other people's experiences.
Correct. So there'll be like 100 Black Cap supporters in a room.
Yeah.
And, and an All Black supporter comes in and goes, hey, guys. It's like, hey, Manaia.
Yeah.
Because, hey, I don't really support cricket, but I'm an All Blacks fan. Everyone goes, it's okay, man.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And then they can tell you stories about times when their teams let them down.
Yeah, and hurt them.
And different warning signs for you to look out for, how to cope with the grief as well.
Well, I mean, look, if anyone can pass on experience, it's the Black Cap supporters.
Yeah.
So, welcome.
Shared facilities.
Welcome.
Another caller here. Yours, please.
G'day, fellas. I'm a bit sad for Charlie Ups. Big fan for the last month or so. Still need to find his book. Anyway, we could get behind this $25 note. You guys link up with TAB. $25 note. We'll match your deposit. Bonus bets only. La-di-da-di-da. T's and C's apply. Safer communities together.
So, maybe we can't get the Reserve Bank of New Zealand to print a legal tender banknote, but we could get a $25 token at the TAB with Sir Edmund Hillary's face on it.
I'm not sure how the estate of Sir Ed would appreciate that, but, I mean, you never know. He might have been a punter in his day.
Well, I suppose if you just put $5 notes, that's the same thing anyway.
True. Yeah.
But appreciate that. And also, he said he'd been a fan of Charles Upham for the last month. You can remain a fan of Charles Upham.
Yeah.
For the rest of the months of your life.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a movie made about
Charles
Upham.
Someone sent in a voicemail the other day saying that apparently it was in
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan, yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe we should make it. Pitch it to tyke it. One more caller here. Yours, please.
Not sure it's a comedy.
Hey guys, it's your first female caller here, Helen Clark, spelt with 3 Ks. And as a typical female, I'm late to the party, but how good was the Major League Cricket final? Go Washington Freedom, and fuck Wainui Amara.
Did you watch the Major League final?
No. The only bit of footage I've seen of the Major League Cricket was Corey Anderson's catch, where he attempted to jump off the ground and maybe got a couple of centimetres, maybe half a centimetre off the ground.
Yeah.
He's certainly spent some time in the United States top paddock.
Yeah,
that's the only footage I've seen of the Major League Cricket. Should probably pay more attention to it, but I haven't.
So much else going on.
Yeah.
Except for the Black Caps playing. Hopefully a bit of action tonight. But yeah, sorry we haven't covered that one for you. All right, let's knock this thing on the head. We'll be back tomorrow for a Wednesday edition of the Agenda podcast. We're going to have Laura McGoldrick on to talk about Game of Two Halves, which premieres this Thursday, 8:30 on Sky Open. Well, my first question for her is, why has she lowered her standards?
Yeah, why is she hanging out with us?
The last time we saw her, she was presenting the Olympics, and I think we all loved her in that role. And now she's going to go and tarnish her reputation by hanging out with us.
Yeah, I remember she was standing between David Beckham and Sachin Tendulkar during the World Cup.
Now, the mighty have fallen. That'll be my first question for her tomorrow on a Wednesday edition of the Agenda podcast.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast, brought to you by Export Ultra. For more episodes, like and follow on iHeartradio or wherever you get your podcasts.